Materials I have used in this part are same as compared to last part. So if you haven't seen part 1, then link is in the description box. So just darkening the smaller portions, as you can see that half portions of this face is looking too good as compared to another parts, but there is a layer a bit of details that are missing from this face. So making or blending those smaller details or the first layer, you can give a realistic look. As you can see that I have just used a smaller length makeup brush for blending those eyes portions which are more shadowed as compared to middle and the end of these eyelashes. So using a sharpened pencil, or you can say that sharpened rubber pencil, you can remove this part which is more highlighted as compared to different parts. So just using a rubber you can give a highlighted look. Now for darkening more portions or giving a more realistic look, you can use a blending stump. I will recommend you to use the smallest number of blending stump, which is the shortest one, for blending those smaller portions. You can see that this part of his face, there is a 3 type of wrinkles which is straight, and if you will not blend them, it will not give you a totally realistic look, or it will give you a dull look for a portrait sketch. Now for making the remaining part of his face, use a 4B pencil or 6B pencils for making this part, or you can use a 2B or 3B pencil also for making a first base layer for them. This part of ear is not much visible, so that you cannot give more details as compared to different parts. So leave it a little bit of darker with compared to any other portions. So you can use a 5B pencils for darkening that ear. Now for making this part and this, which will be a middle part between lips and ears, use a sharpened pencil which can be a 3B or 4B pencils. Now for making lips, from reference picture you can see that there are not much details visible for his lips. So for making a base line in between for lips first, as I always do, now make a smaller portions of lips up and small portions down. The most dark part of lips is middle of lips, and another part will be of the darkest part, which will be lighter from here and darker here. So just leave them as a first layer. Now there will be a short or shadowed portions between cheek and his lips. So darken, you can also dark at first, but I will recommend you to make a base layer first and darken it afterwards. Now for making left hand side of his face, just use the same method as I told you in before, or I can say that before first part of this video. Now for making this part, which will be a chin and other parts, just use a base layer first. You can go for skin texture, you can go for a direct base layer method, which will be a blending or hatching method. Hatching will be a most useful thing for making skin texture, but as I always do, I will recommend you to make a small line portions for making a realistic skin and blend it afterwards. Now as you can see that left ear is much more visible as compared to right ear, and much more details are visible, but it is more highlighted as compared to this ear. As of course the main part of his face is below chin, which is remaining right now. So the darkest portions right now is that this portions, which will be more darker as compared to any other, which is chin, and giving a darker shadowed look. Or you can say that the main chin, this part will be more darker as compared to any other parts. As you can see that I am just using a same pencil that I have used for making the skin texture, because I don't want that this part will be different from any other part. I will blend it after and make a base layer, first layer and third layer if I want a more darker values. So now for making the main part of his neck, which will be a darker here on right hand side, and the most highlighted part will be on left side. So now for making this part, just use a same pencil for making a base layer. Don't go darken first or I will recommend you to don't use a 5B, 6B or 8B pencil first and then go for 2B or darkening them, because it will not blend afterwards. I will recommend you to darken the 2B pencils as high as you can and then go for more darker values. As you can see that I have connected the parts which will be on from his ears to the main neck where his clothes are ending. So making the lines which are coming from up to down, you have to focus on the main portions of skin texture which come up to down. It will give you a realistic look. Blending it with the makeup brush, which will be of shortest part, which will be a most helpful part. If you can see, in the most helpful part is making or using a makeup brush. So blending them, it will be a more realistic look, or you can say that drawing realistic look. Now I am darkening the parts which are higher values or higher shadowed values using 4B pencil. Now this part of his face is much equal to 4B and this part is much equal to 5B or 6B. You have to focus on reference picture continuously for zooming it out, or I will recommend you to use an application which will help you to zoom out your reference picture as much as you can, because if you will zoom out your picture, you will get a darker or a shadowed values, or you can see that you show or you can see more details from this picture, but your reference gallery picture or the phone's gallery application can. If you have learned something from this video, subscribe and drop a like, share it with friends and family, and comment down your questions and queries regarding this tutorial. Meanwhile, take care of your loved ones too. Have an artistic day. That is. I always thought that does art require good quality products? Then I came up with the idea of sharing my artworks with you all and how I do it. Best advice I can give you for a good portrait sketching is that start sketching right now. Always remember, artists make art, art doesn't make artists. Subscribe now by clicking here, or the lid of your pencil will break every time you draw. And click here if you want to learn more about portrait drawings.